Okay, we should be live. Microphone check. Microphone looks good. Alright, slide my chair in a bit. So, I haven't been on for the past few days. Most of that was due to the Lord of the Rings pre-release. Sure, now, all of a sudden. I was fine for an hour after I ate. I ate early today, and I'm just like, okay, let me go pay some bills, and then we'll do a quick stream, and I get 3 sentences in, and it's just like, no, throat's gonna bother me again. Whatever. Anyway, did the pre-release. Did 3 sealed events and 1 draft. Won one of the sealed events. Won the draft. My brother won the other sealed event, and then the one neither of us won. I punted a game to the winner because even though I know my ring bearer is legendary, I completely forgot about the menace granted to it from Gimli's axe. I'm thinking, well, it hasn't had menace this whole time, so now that it's my ring bearer, it still doesn't have menace. So my 8 power orc army got chumped by a 1/1 when it should have been chumped by 2/1/1s, thereby denying my opponent the ability to chump it later when I realized it had menace. And by then it was too late to go back, and then I legit lost the third game against him. And then my brother got killed by him in the finals, so a rare neither one of us taking the trophy at this particular location, but it happens. Um, I opened my packs. Got so I opened my prize packs, and with what I opened in the seal pools, I have a large portion of the mythics. It feels like I definitely have a lot of different mythics. There's only been 2 overlaps so far. I've got 2 different Tom Bombadils and 2 Arendelle, the Aragorn sword, Flame of the West. So, but yeah, between me and my brother, he hasn't opened his prize packs yet, so there's still plenty of chances. But I did get a chance to play with the Palantar, and it was absolutely wonderful. The one time it showed up, I had the Palantar and the Witch King, the mythic one, in the same seal pool, and the Witch King showed up 5 different games, and I only lost once to another Witch King. When he showed up, and the Palantar only showed up against one opponent, and it did exactly what it looks like it's going to do, where they mill you once to stop you from getting the extra card and take a bunch of damage, and then they can never mill you again, and it becomes a 3-mana personal Howling Mine, and that is just amazing and limited. If the format isn't insanely fast, the Palantar will just too much card advantage. It will overwhelm the opponent very quickly. So that was fun. I also got to play a very, very fun deck with Smeagol, the black-green version. I think that's the only one that's actually called Smeagol. The rest of them are called Golem, but black-green Smeagol, where if the ring tempts you, your opponent mills until they hit a land, and then you put that land into play, with the rare that tempts you every upkeep and lets you pay 2 life to draw a card when you select a ring bearer. That was gross. I milled 3 people out with that deck. And the rest of the games I won just by attacking them and dealing damage to them. And I lost to my brother in the finals. So, all in all, good times. Had a lot of fun playing. Drafted black-green during the draft because I forget what card I started with, but I got past Smeagol, again, and then Old Man Willow, and I was just all in at that point. Um, so yeah, overall, had a very enjoyable pre-release weekend. And now we're back, and we are going to be building some Bilbo. When last we left off, we had just finished M13, according to my notes. I think I realized it was time for me to go to work or to grab my brother to go to work. I think the last time I did a stream for this was Wednesday. It might have been Tuesday. Um, and then I did a few drafts, and then I was doing stuff outside of streaming because I had some stuff that I wanted to do, and I don't have it set up so that I can stream any of it, unfortunately. Um, the Miles Morales follow up to Insomniac Spider Man, it's getting the sequel this year, so I think it's this year. It's coming relatively soon. Um, but anyway, they put the Miles Morales game on sale, which I was waiting for because I heard that it's good but short, so I didn't want to spend full price on it. Unfortunately, for streaming purposes, the PlayStation Store one was like $20 last week, and the Steam one went on sale a little while after that, but it went on sale for like $30 or $35 on top of that. So I'd already bought it for the PS4 for $20, but I don't even want to try to set up the PS4 back here and attach it. Like, I might be able to pull that off, but I'm not anywhere near tech savvy enough to just go, yeah, this is something I'm going to be able to do very easily. So I took like Thursday off for the most part to just play that to try and finish the game. Like, I downloaded over the last weekend, and yeah. So I was thinking that um Iris came out for Opera Omnia like today, and she came out Thursday, so Thursday I spent all day playing Miles Morales, and then Friday I spent almost the entire day before the pre-release doing Iris's event in Opera Omnia. So, all right, getting back to actually building Bilbo. So, end step, put a 1/1 counter. No, nothing. This Ajani is gains flying and double strike -8 cat creatures equal to your life total. Nope. Chosen cares about enchantments. Do I actually want Angelic Accord? Maybe. This falls into the category of things that will actually win us the game. If you don't know, I'm planning to build Bilbo. Like, the goal is not to kill the opponents. The goal is to outlast the opponents. I've wanted to build a deck with this mentality for a while now. The problem is that if you don't have, like, decent sized creatures to block with, then you have to kill basically everything. Like, life gain in and of itself does not actually do anything to extend the game past like a couple extra turns. So you have to be able to kill all of their creatures, and that means being able to block sometimes. Like, you can't spend a spell on every single creature 3 different other players are playing. So you need ways to get into combat with them so that way they don't attack you or lose creatures in the process. Excuse me. So the downside is once we have a giant army of 4/4 flying angels, it's really hard to not just win the game that way. If you're not attacking vulnerable opponents, then you're not actually playing to win, and that's like the deck, the way I wanted to build it, doesn't want to play to win, but at the same time, if I can win that way, instead of the long, impossibly painful, drawn out scenario, then it feels like I'm just wasting people's time. If I have to win that way and I succeed, then that's fun. If I don't have to win that way and choose to anyway when I could win much easier with just the normal, I've gained a ton of life, here's an army of creatures. That feels more disingenuous with the deck. Like, why are you doing that? You know, I'm at 40, you have 10 angels, why are you not attacking me? I have no blockers, you know. At least attack me with half of them, put me on a 2-turn clock. It's like, no, I want to make you concede. It's like, fine, then I concede because you're a jerk. You know, you have the win and you're not going for it. This is dumb. I would much rather, play a game where I don't obviously have the win and then the game keeps going until I get the win anyway. That is my goal. That being said, we do gain a ton of life, so Archangel of Thune is a very real possibility. This does mean, of course, that we won't be running Triskelion or Walking Ballista at all, because we don't want to win that way again. And if I put them in the deck, then I kind of have to. No, did not actually put our creature type. I'm like, I'm missing something here, but I'm also talking and I'm distracted by what I'm saying. Yeah, we might not run the Archangel of Thune, because all it does is when I gain life, it makes my creature scarier, but that's probably actually going to be a cut the more I'm thinking about it. Slivers gain double strike, non-creature permanent. Excuse me. I can sack a creature to gain 4 life, but that does not seem particularly good. Griffin, lifelink creature. Probably not bothering with Congregate. I'd rather keep gaining life over multiple turns rather than gain some amount of... What expansion symbol is that? Dual decks, heroes versus monsters. Okay. Tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Create a 4/4 angel token with flying for each creature tapped this way. Nope. Divine Favor, Doomblade, Duress. We already have Elixir on the list. Yeah, Elixir of Immortality might be the most telling card for how I plan to win. If you've never seen, during the original Theros block, there was a standard deck that ran Sphinx's Revelation and Elixir of Immortality and these were its win cons. It had absolutely no way to kill the opponent. It just refused to die until they decked out or gave up out of frustration. That is the type of deck I want Bilbo to be. Because I've never built a deck like that for Commander before, and I'm very interested in building one. But that means that you can't have too many ways to realistically win the game outside of that. Otherwise, you're just going to win the game that way, and that's way less interesting. But there has to be some balance. I don't think we can go full no-win cons. I can't just build a deck with a bunch of defenders and use them. I need to actually have creatures that, can attack a planeswalker or something before they get to their ultimate, or before Sorin sets me to 10 again. Sorin's going to be a nightmare for this deck. Probably at least as much, if not more so, than some of the other ones, like the Sphinx or the Legend from Dominaria that sets some players to 10. I forget. It's got a super weird name. It's like Spirit of Famine or something. Don't need Lifebane Zombie. Preemptive exile, yeah. One of the things we want to do is we want our removal to exile things, so that way opponents' resources keep getting depleted. Cast a creature spell, make a 3/3. Cast a non-creature, 3/1/1 counters. Land enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. I will admit I do like the idea of landfall gain 3 life. The problem is we don't need the other two modes, and we will have other landfall gain life cards in our deck. They gain smaller amounts of life, but we should be able to overcome with effects like Bilbo himself, boosting the amount that we gain per life gain instance. Sanguine Bond is not where we want to be. I don't need the Shadowborns, either of them. Soul Menders, not good enough. Yeah, if I'm not going to run things like the Staff of the Magi here, then I certainly don't need a creature that taps to gain a single life each turn. Strionic Resonator. Do I care about Resonator at all? Most of my life gain is triggered, but I don't think I need the Resonator to increase. That just letting me know that I'm live. I think it was an ad for something. Trading Post, Trollhide, Warlord, Basswood Hydra, Haven, Poison. Where X is the amount of life you've gained this turn. Silly, but not anything that I need. Again, I'm probably going to cut the Angel of Thune because it's not actually on theme. It's, it cares about life gain, so that's what made me put it on the list, but if I had been thinking about it, it's not how I want to win, so it kind of goes against the grain for what the actual deck wants to be. Like, if I already don't super want to attack with them, why am I now going through the trouble to make them even larger so I cannot attack with them? First strike, vigilance, and lifelink. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature and a loyalty on each planeswalker. You get an emblem where if a source would deal damage to you or a planeswalker you control, prevent all but one of that damage. See, I would love to get the emblem on Ajani, but like we don't need the other abilities. And I'm not going to be running like doubling season or anything, I don't think, so yeah, I'm looking at Avacyn right now. The 7 mana activated ability is okay, but it's still a very expensive fog. Yeah, you probably don't want to run her. The Boon Weaver, Board of Calling, Restricting Sliver, Covenant of Blood, Sadist, that. Convoke and it exiles an attacking or blocking creature. It's alright. I think we have enough better options. Although I am considering the actual card exile, although that will gain us life. And it just can't hit white creatures is the only downside. Eternal Thirst. Fallen. Mr. Gloom. First Response. Destroy a planeswalker, make a 3/3 death touch. Destroy target creature, gain life equal to its toughness. And the emblem is +5/+5 and trample to creatures attacking the player that you gave it to. I don't mind the -3 kill a creature, gain life, or making 3/3 death touch beast to block with, but overall seems not that great. Don't need the queen or her nest. Ambush. Hushwing Griff, no. Veil, no. Leeching Sliver. Life's Legacy. Draw cards equal to sacrifice creature's power. No. Destroy all non-white creatures. Vote gain 8 life. No. Necrogen Scooter. Necromancer Assistant. Stockpile. Definitely one of my favorite cards. Like, just that card always made me smile a little bit, and it played super well in the limited format it was in, so. Opponent searches their library, sacrifices a creature, and loses 10 life. Whenever another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. Yeah, I don't think I need that. Like, it is nice to stop opponents from being able to search for a while without them taking massive damage, but since we personally are not pressuring their life total, there's a very real chance that they won't be bothered by it at all. Like, they more have to worry about other players killing them because they searched their deck than they have to worry about me killing them because they searched their deck, so. Alright, I'm not gonna lie. Because of the things I want to do with this deck, Perilous Vault does seem better than Oblivion Stone. So I might possibly want that if I want a reset button like that. So go ahead and add the vault. Yeah, we are on M15 now. Okay. Perilous Vault. It is one more mana to pull it off because it's a 4-drop and 5 to exile everything. But that should be fine. If I want a big board reset, I probably want that. The downside is that will exile my stuff also, obviously, but that might be okay. There's also a chance I just want the O Stone anyway to destroy everything, and then I'll worry about exiling the opponent's stuff from their graveyards. I'm going a bit fast because I'm thinking about this while I'm scrolling. I think there was anything though. Target creature with toughness 4 or greater. First strike. Creature new. New. Ranger's Guile. Restock. Defied Charge. Satyr Wayfinder. Doom Engine. Would deal damage to equipped creature, prevent X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Nope. Think we need any of the souls? Certainly doesn't feel like it. Soulmender again. Don't need Spectral Ward. Pay white, make a spirit, sacrifice a spirit. Target non-spirit creature gains indestructible until end of turn. No. For the staves again, Stain the Mind, Sunblade Elf, no. Pegasus, Chain Veil, Missionaries, Spirits. No. Wall of Essence. There we go. Wall of Limbs. Every time I gain life, it gets a 1/1 counter, but it's a nice, harmless 0/3 wall to start off with. The Warden of the Beyond, no. Waste Not. that. +2 happiness. Hello. How are you doing today? Welcome to the channel. Alright, so that was 2015, so we're on to Origins. Oh, that's good. So, you come here for Commander decks in general, to see Bilbo in particular, or are you just killing time in between now and what you're doing with the rest of your day? I don't need the Angel. Creature. I'll hammer its archive. There we go. That's a thing. That is definitely a thing. Oh, great. Now I have to spell this stupid Sphinx's name again. ALHAMMARRET''S. Okay. Tactician, no. Miss Awakening, no. Archangel, Spirits. Oh yeah, I go through every set and pull out cards that I think will make the deck, and then we pare it down to about 60 spells and 40 lands, give or take, depending on the actual build. It's almost always 60 spells counting the commander and 40 lands, but every once in a while we get one where there's enough mana where we can skimp on a couple of lands. I haven't built one yet that was so mana hungry and didn't have enough acceleration in it that it needed more than 40 lands, though, so. Dark Dabbling, no. Petition, no. Pact, no. Yeah, most of our guys are too little. Shrouding Mist. Titan Leap. Blight, Flesh to Dust. Top 5 cards, put a creature. I think so. Alright, this is Kithion. Don't think that one then. Blade Marauder, nope. This, Infinite Obliteration. Path of Fed. Whenever a permanent owned by another player is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card and lose a life. Yeah, it's probably still too dangerous. We'll wind up not being able to control how much life we're losing, so unless we're gaining life for their things dying at the time, we could actually lose to an infinite loop. Order. And much as I do not mind converting a lot of this excess life into resources, one where we have little control over it seems kind of dicey for what we're trying to accomplish. Go into the battlefield and it gets counters. No. He's the basic forest, right? Yeah, I probably don't need that. Orbs of Warding gives me hexproof and prevents damage that creatures would deal to me. does prevent all damage, not just combat damage. So that would get around various things from like, and the hexproof, so we can't be targeted by the things in the first place. So deal a damage to each opponent with repeatable effects. Maybe, probably not, but maybe. Perfect. Yeah, one of the easiest ways this deck can lose is to infinite loops, and a lot of them do small amounts of damage. So it's just a matter of, is that small amount of damage going to be targeted or creature based? And if the answer is yes to either of them, then the orbs is good. So I have to see if we have room for it though, or if we just have better ways to get around similar setups. Throne, sigil, gains trample, no. Plays back dead enchantments, but then they eventually turn into creatures. A Great Aurora. That's more obnoxious than good. Oracle, Lifelink and Renown, no. Delaware, Force Mage, nope, okay. Origins. What we got next? Alright, Conspiracy and Original Commander. Alright, so we'll get our Scavenging Ooze on the list. Man Tower. Each player creates X 1/1s, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way. Probably not. We do have a lot of life gain from creatures entering, but that still seems medium. Christian Aura Shards. Celestial Force. Now we can do better than an 8-drop 7/7. Had like lifelink or something, maybe. Even then, that wouldn't be that great. 3 life. It's like 12 life a turn cycle if we're not modifying it, and like. So. That's an extra 4 life then, so 16 life with Bilbo. Yeah, we need to be modifying that a lot for it to be worth the original 8 mana investment for a 7/7 that doesn't do anything else. We have so many other cards that will gain us life. Destroy all creatures your opponents control, then tap all other creatures you control. Prophet, Fierce Empath. Gave. Yeah, Gave is one of those ones. If I put him in there, that's just going to be a distraction. Like, he goes infinite so easily that sometimes it's just going to be better to focus on Gave, and I don't want to be pulled in that direction by him. Think we need Homeward Path. Jotun Grunt. Karandor the Ghost Chieftain. 1 less for each creature in your graveyard. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard. I mean, we're getting basically that from Lurus, because most of our creatures are so cheap. I don't think we need... Like, even with him being, like, 5 mana or 6 mana, still don't think we necessarily need him. Or another non-land permanent you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent that shares a card type with it. I'm wondering how this works with no mercy effects. So, if we were to block, like, creatures where ours are going to die, our things die when they're dealt combat damage. If no mercy goes on the stack before Martyr's Bond, or I can choose the order, or if no mercy resolves before Martyr's Bond, or I can choose. Then we get to kill all the creatures that dealt damage to me, and then they sacrifice all of the other ones because they killed my blockers, and then the other players all have to lose creatures for mine dying in combat. I genuinely don't know how that works though. So yeah. If Mars Bond and other non-land permanents at the same time will trigger for itself in each of those permanents. Each opponent must sacrifice only one permanent for each trigger, even if the non-land permanent you control went to the graveyard and had multiple. Okay, that's not helping anything. I don't need that. Duplicate tab. We see. Its name. No Mercy. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, destroy it. Period. Will trigger whenever a creature, including creatures you control, deal damage to you, not only combat damage. So it's a triggered ability on dealing the damage. But if state-based actions cause the creatures to be placed in the graveyard, um, before then from blocking, then No Mercy is going to, like, they can sacrifice the things that No Mercy is going to destroy. So the two of them don't work well together. Like, I'm planning on running No Mercy and Dread, and I think that's it, because the Witch King is only, they only have to sacrifice one creature when they deal damage to you. So they only have to sacrifice one of those creatures, I believe, is the wording on the Witch King, so that one's less likely to make it. I mean, it still has a bit of the rattlesnake factor of not wanting to destroy my things just arbitrarily. So maybe. I'll consider it, but I don't think it works quite the way I want it to with my other cards, so it's less likely to kill all of their things. Also, we should have seen Command Tower already, and I don't know how I missed it, but I had it now while I'm thinking of it. Reprints. Dust. Choose player. Oh, right. Based on the cards in their graveyard, so no. Player Mills X, no. Exile target creature that's attacking you or a planeswalker you control. It has the downside of being an on-board trick. Other than that, it's doing exactly what this deck wants, so that's exiling the creatures. Soul Snare, Soul's Trap, Soul Snare. Wait, it's an enchantment. Flash, go to Neb. Bilious. Fish Call the Blood Arbiter. Sacrifice a creature, put X counters on it. Also, we passed over Scavenging Ooze, right? This is where he was originally from. I missed him somehow. Yeah, there he is. Scavenging Ooze. How did I miss you, Scavenging Ooze? I'm sorry. Must have been thinking about something else and not realized it at the time. Because usually I notice that I'm just scrolling past cards and go back and double check them. But we went past him and the Scythe Spectre, although we're not running the Scythe Spectre. And then, yeah, we got to Shared Trauma and the Sewer Nemesis. Okay. I don't need Skullbriar. Full Snare. Siphon Flesh, no. Wild, no. We are on Vishkal. So you can remove the counters. Target creature gets -1/-1 for each counter. Don't think I need the vows. Nope, okay. Back we go. Alright, now for Conspiracy. Draft cards. No, but Black Rose, no. Think we're voting on anything. Portal. Council's Judgment. I mean, probably. This was Conspiracy. There's always the risk that the rest of the table has different ideas than you do about what's the most threatening permanent you don't control, but it does still exile that permanent. And depending on the turn sequence and everything, there's always the chance that you get two permanents when you're playing a 4-player game. Like, I vote for one thing, and then everybody else, like, somebody else votes for that thing, like, usually the player that controls it, so that way they don't have to exile two things potentially. Or you can get to a position where everybody votes for a different thing, and they all get exiled, depending on the board state and the temperament of the other players. But yeah, there can be times where the other players just outvote you on the thing you wanted to get rid of. Because it's bad for you specifically. It's a battlefield, so each player votes for an artifact, creature, or enchantment in your graveyard. Death Reap, Death Render, reprint anyway. Hydra Omnivore. War Seeker. Yeah, these are all. I don't need the Magister. City's draft card. Seekers, Accidental. Hit no. For each non-land revealed in this way, make a 1/1. Gala. Gain 1 life, then each player draws a card. Eh, this might be the first time I've ever seriously considered a parlay card even a little bit. I've never been a big fan of the mechanic. I've not built a group hug deck that would actually want to run any of the parlays yet. Choice. Vow. Well, one of the vows again. Get +1/+1, then each player draw. Nope. Okay. Original Conspiracy. And that brings us to March of the Machine. Alright, Mom, what do you got for us? I don't need the host. Or Ancient Imperiosaur. Archangel Elspeth. Makes a 1/1 with lifelink. Becomes an angel and gains flying. And puts little things from our graveyard into play. We do have a lot of little things. And she makes little lifelink guys. That does not seem terrible. I do think it's kind of weird. She gives the creature flying, but she doesn't do the flying counter now that they do that. But it's not like the flying wears off at end of turn. Alright, so March. Alright, my thing. March of the Multitudes. March of the Machine. There we go. So Archangel Elspeth. Two white, Planeswalker. She starts on 4. Yep. Consider her. Praxis Fall. Maelstrom. Dara. Light Reaper. Processor. Bloom Builder Dryads. Bringer Valkyrie. Breach. Dead. And Linvala. Probably not. Alright, so whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or a permanent you control that source's controller loses 2 life unless they pay 1. Sack 3 other creatures to transform her, and then her etchings is incubate 5 times, transform all of them. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and double strike. Destroy all other permanents except for artifacts, lands, and Phyrexians. Yeah, I think not. None of that is really doing what the deck wants it to do. Including putting the incubate tokens into play and flipping them will not trigger the life gain off of any of the creatures that we have or permanents that we have that care about creatures coming in. So we would need to gain life for artifacts entering for her to matter, and I don't think I want to bother with that. Unless it's like an artifact under anybody's control, and even actually at that point I would do that because there are some decks that just make a million treasure. So if we're going to gain that much life, I would be okay with that. But yeah, just running one that gains life based on our artifacts coming in, especially when she's going to kill the rest of our creatures. X Dinosaur or X with lifelink. Yeah, I don't think we need Galta and Mavrin. It is nice that we would get it by attacking with our other creatures the turn we cast her, but I don't think so. Don't need Glissa. Butcher. Europer. Wordling Dragon, Ichor Drinker. Incubate 3 and it has Swamp Cycling. No. Dominaria comes in play, we gain 4 life and draw a card, but then the backside isn't anything particularly good. Yours fine, not amazing. Innistrad. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls that isn't exactly 2 colors. 5 mana sorcery speed removal. Again, not exactly the best. I don't think we can invade Theros because I'm pretty sure what's her name is a white-blue creature still on the back. Afara. But really need Zendikar. Whispered Hopes. No. Like Errant. This is the number of creatures that convoked it. We have a lot of little creatures, but we need to convoke this thing with at least 2 of them, and it's still only the top 6. I've already been on a rant a couple of times about cards that look at the top X of your deck and how they diminish the more cards you add into your deck. So 100 card decks are more likely to miss with an effect like that. So I don't want to dedicate the deck space unless, like, if I'm getting enough value out of the cards, like, if every time something happens I get to look at the top 3 and try and find a card, then that's okay. But if it's a one-shot, then probably not. Don't need any of these. Non-Phyrexian spells, no. Pylon, no. Holocranos. Giant Phyrexian. Wormcoil Engine Body. Realmbreaker. Moloch, no. No. Alright. Enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker. Exile Sheoldred, then return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery and only if an opponent has 8 or more cards in the graveyard. We do plan on exiling a lot of our opponent's stuff, so that's really hard to pull off. Destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker they control. Discard 3 cards, then mill 3. And put all creatures from all graveyards onto the battlefield. Yeah, we might actually not even be able to pull that one off to begin, like, flipping her to begin with. Yeah, well. Yeah, I've got enough other things that exile creatures. We don't need Sunfall. And some of them even leave our creatures alive, so... I don't need Dolly and the Gitrog, right? Play an additional land. Enter the battlefield tapped. Sacrifice a creature or land, then draw a card. Alright, so there's the backside of Vorinclex. We mill 10 cards, put 2 creatures, distribute 7 counters. Yeah, none of this. None of this is relevant to our deck. Godfire, Vorinclex himself. And then Realmbreaker. Gargle Multani. Zalortha and Zalfir. Okay. March of the Machines main. We're getting near the hour mark, and I'm only doing 1 hour today because I have to go to work earlier than usual for a Sunday. There we go. Now we can scroll down. Okay, so March of the Machines. One of these is the commander set. The other one is the fancy creatures. Okay, this is the commander set. So do that first. And one of them should be the reprinted Legends, and then the March of the Machines, should be the Aftermath set. Enchant Planeswalker has... Yeah, we don't run enough Planeswalkers in this deck, I don't think. Two or more creatures draw a card. Whenever another player attacks with two or more creatures, they draw a card if they're not attacking you. Flying Trample, skip your draw. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, you may draw or you do draw a card and you lose one life. I think so. Talent. If you cast a historic spell, return target non-land permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile at the beginning of the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile instead of putting it anywhere else. We do have a couple of blink effects, so this isn't terrible, but it's also not the best. Just draw a card, 2 discard a card, make a 2/2 white and blue knight creature token with vigilance. +1 in vigilance. Whenever equipped creature attacks, top 6, creature type, and the rest on the bottom. Nope. X/3/3 golems. X is the number of opponents you have, and your golems are indestructible. Exile target non-land permanent's controller incubates X. That one I'm probably down for, so back to Commander. Precise the Imperfect. One white for an instant. Right? Yeah. Filigree Vector. Counter on each of any number of target creatures and a charge counter on artifacts. Sacrifice another artifact, proliferate. Nope. Backup, flying, attacks, return target non-land permanent card with mana value X or less, where X is the creature's power. Most of our things are small, but most of our things are small, so it kind of does not work out. They won't get to attack very often with the extra counter to try and get things back from my graveyard. So then it's on the dragon, and the dragon has to live, and we're not really concerned about attacking, so we're not maining any haste enablers. I think. Game your turn, populate. Whenever a creature token enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on Nesting Dovehawk. Create X spirits with flying. Attack, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. On to the World Soul. Tap, add white, and tap the next spell you cast has Convoke. No. Cards incubate X. Creature you control deals combat damage to a player. Put a 1/1 counter on that creature and create a blood token. Nope. Token Knight dies. Each opponent loses one, and I draw a card. Mills 2 cards, then put a creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield. If it's an... Oh, it is an artifact in addition to its other types. Backup 1 3 times. Trample. Deals combat damage to a player. Put that many 1/1 counters on. Backup. Look at the top X cards of your library. X is its power. May put a permanent card with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. Library for 2 basic lands. Put them onto the battlefield. Bolster X. X is a number of differently named tokens. Artifact tokens. Don't need Bitterthorn. Elixir. Cast a Phyrexian spell or artifact spell. Incubate X. Phyrexian died under your control. Proliferate. That's everybody? Yeah, it's kind of underwhelming. Alright, so we got up through the regular March of the Machines and its commander. So we stopped before Aftermath. Alright, I'm going to call it there because I only have like an hour before I have to go into work, so I have to get ready. So thank you for watching. Thank you to Plus Two Happiness for stopping by and chatting for a little bit. And I will see you all next time. Have a good rest of your day.